I was working overseas when I got the divorce papers. My wife demanded everything I owned, but she didn't know about my secret plan that left her with nothing. My name's David, and this is my story. I'm a 42-year-old software engineer from New York, and last year I was sent to Tokyo for a 3-month project. My wife, Laura, and I had been married for 8 years. I thought we were solid, until that email arrived. It was a Tuesday morning in June, and I was in my hotel room sipping coffee when I saw the notification from my lawyer. "Divorce filing," the subject read. My stomach dropped. I opened the attachment. Laura had filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. But that wasn't the worst part. She was demanding everything. Our house in Brooklyn, my car, half my savings, even my stock investments. She claimed she deserved it for supporting my career. Supporting me? She'd been a marketing manager with her own income. This wasn't about fairness. It was about greed. I called her immediately. "Laura, what the hell is this?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She was cold, calculated. "I'm done, David. I want a fresh start, and I'm taking what's mine." Her tone sent chills down my spine. I hung up, my mind racing. How could she do this while I was 7,000 miles away? That's when I realized I was still in control. I'd made a brilliant move years ago that she'd never suspect. Early in our marriage, I'd put all my assets in my mother's name. The house, the car, my investments, everything. It started as a precaution after a friend lost everything in a messy divorce. I never thought I'd need it, but now it was my lifeline. Laura had no idea. I leaned back in my chair, a small smirk forming. She thought she'd ruin me, but I was one step ahead. I wasn't going to let her take a single penny. I knew I couldn't confront Laura without a solid plan. She thought she had the upper hand, but I needed to understand her game. Still in Tokyo, I called my lawyer, Mark, back in New York. "I need everything on Laura," I said. "Her finances, her movements, anything that shows what she's really after." Mark agreed to dig deeper and involve a private investigator. While waiting, I started piecing things together. I remembered small signs I'd ignored. Laura's late nights at the office, her new designer clothes, and her sudden interest in my stock portfolio. She'd been planning this for a while. I logged into our shared cloud account, something she probably forgot I had access to, and found emails between her and a guy named Ryan, her new friend. They weren't just friends. Messages about a fresh start together and, once the divorce is final, made my blood boil. She wasn't just after my money. She was building a new life with someone else. Mark called me later that day. "David, you're not going to believe this. Laura's been funneling money from your joint account into a separate one. $10,000 over 6 months. My jaw clenched. She'd been stealing from me while planning her exit. But here's the kicker. She thought I had millions in assets to claim. She didn't know they were all in my mother's name. I told Mark about my asset protection plan. He laughed. "That's genius, David. She's got nothing to stand on." We decided to let the divorce proceed, but I wasn't done. I wanted Laura to feel the weight of her betrayal. I instructed Mark to stall the proceedings until I returned to New York in 2 weeks. I needed time to set my trap. I sat in my Tokyo hotel room, staring at the city skyline. Laura thought she'd blindsided me, but she was in for a rude awakening. What did I have planned for her? Keep listening. Over the next 2 weeks in Tokyo, I played my role perfectly. I texted Laura, pretending to be heartbroken but cooperative. "I just want this to be fair," I wrote, knowing she'd take the bait. She replied with fake sympathy, "I'm sorry, David, but it's for the best." Her words made me sick, but I stayed calm. I called my mom in New York to confirm everything was in place. The house, the car, the stocks, they're all under my name, right? I asked. She nodded over the video call. Yes, David, she can't touch a thing. My mom had always been my rock, and now she was my shield. I also asked her to gather documents proving the assets were hers, deeds, titles, everything. We'd need them in court. Mark, my lawyer, kept me updated. Laura's lawyer was pushing for a quick settlement, claiming I was hiding assets. I laughed when Mark told me. Hiding? No, I'd been smart. But I wanted to dig deeper into Laura's new life. The private investigator, Sam, sent me a report. Laura had been seeing Ryan, a coworker, for over a year. They'd even rented an apartment together in Manhattan, using the money she'd siphoned from our account. I decided to turn the tables. I told Mark to leak a rumor through mutual friends that I was devastated and willing to settle quickly. Laura took the bait, thinking I was weak. Meanwhile, I booked my flight back to New York. The day I landed, I'd meet with Mark to finalize my plan. I wasn't just going to protect my assets. I was going to expose Laura's greed to everyone we knew. As my plane touched down at JFK, I felt a surge of adrenaline. Laura thought she'd won, but the real game was just beginning. I landed in New York on a rainy Monday morning, ready to face Laura in court. Mark met me at his office, a stack of documents in hand. "We've got everything," he said. "The assets are legally your mother's, and we have proof Laura's been unfaithful in stealing from you." I nodded, feeling a strange calm. This wasn't just about money, it was about justice. The hearing was set for that afternoon in a Manhattan courthouse. Laura walked in, dressed in a sleek suit, her lawyer whispering in her ear. She glanced at me with a smug smile, thinking she'd already won. I kept my face neutral, letting her believe I was defeated. Her lawyer started, painting me as a neglectful husband who abandoned Laura for work. They demanded the house, the car, my savings, everything. Then it was our turn. Mark stood up, calm and collected. "Your Honor, my client has no assets to divide. Everything my client owns is legally under his mother's name and has been for years." He presented the deeds, titles, and financial records. The judge reviewed them, her expression unreadable. Laura's face turned red. "That's a lie," she shouted, losing her composure. "He's hiding money." The judge silenced her, but I could see the panic in her eyes. Mark then dropped the bomb. "Furthermore, Mrs. Carter has been unfaithful for over a year and has stolen $10,000 from their joint account." He presented the investigator's report. Emails, photos, bank statements. The courtroom buzzed. Laura's lawyer scrambled, but the damage was done. The judge ruled that since I had no assets in my name, Laura was entitled to nothing. She'd also have to repay the $10,000 she stole with interest. I watched Laura storm out, her dreams of a fresh start shattered. But was that the end of my plan? Not quite. After the hearing, Laura called me, her voice trembling with rage. "You'll pay for this, David," she screamed. I hung up, unfazed. She'd already lost, and I wasn't done. I'd made sure mutual friends and her coworkers accidentally learned about her affair and the court ruling. By the next day, whispers about Laura's greed spread through our social circle. Her reputation was in tatters. I met with Mark to tie up loose ends. The judge had granted the divorce, and since Laura couldn't claim any assets, I walked away free. But the $10,000 she owed me wasn't all I'd take. I filed a civil suit against her for emotional distress, using the affair and her theft as evidence. Mark estimated I'd win at least $50,000 in damages. Laura's life unraveled quickly. Ryan, her new love, dumped her when he realized she had no money to bring to their fresh start. Her company put her on leave after the scandal hit her professional reputation. I heard through a friend that she'd moved into a tiny apartment, struggling to make ends meet. Meanwhile, I moved on. I stayed with my mom in Brooklyn for a while, grateful for her support. The house, the car, the investments, they were still safe, and I started rebuilding my life. I even took a solo trip to Hawaii, something Laura and I had once planned together. Sitting on the beach, I felt lighter than I had in years. But there was one final move I hadn't told anyone about. A month after the divorce, I got a call from Mark. "David, we found something." While digging through Laura's financials for the civil suit, he discovered she'd been hiding income from her marketing job, underreporting it to avoid taxes. It was enough to tip off the IRS. I gave Mark the green light to send an anonymous tip. Within weeks, Laura was under investigation for tax fraud, a felony that could land her in jail. The civil suit went as planned. I was awarded $60,000 in damages, more than I expected. Laura had no way to pay, so the court seized what little she had left, her car, her jewelry, even her laptop. She was broke, humiliated, and facing criminal charges. I decided to share my story online, anonymously, on a blog about surviving betrayal. It went viral, with thousands of people commenting on how they'd been through similar situations. I turned my pain into a platform, helping others protect themselves. Laura tried to reach out one last time, sending a desperate email begging for forgiveness. "I'm sorry, David, I was wrong." I didn't reply. She'd made her choice and I'd made mine. I sold my share of our joint belongings, donated half to charity, and moved into a new apartment in Manhattan. I was free, financially secure, and stronger than ever. Looking back, I don't regret a thing. Laura thought she could take everything, but my secret plan ensured she'd walk away with nothing. My revenge wasn't just about money. It was about reclaiming my life. And that's how I won. What would you have done?